Hey everybody, Friday, January the 13th, 2023. Chuck Barone here, and it's Friday the 13th, but not for the stock market. Was it actually not a bad day for the markets or for investors? A lot to talk about today. Interesting day today. Lots of little blurbs to wrap up this week. But as always, want to welcome you to the show. Thank you for your support. You guys showing up every day to watch these videos and keep the channel going. Can't tell you how much we appreciate you guys. It's really important. Markets today. Well, stocks today were up across the board. Stock market having a pretty fair day. Not big numbers, but up. And I think that this is still part of the C.P.I. numbers yesterday, the residual effect from a decent C.P.I. number. I think the market wants to rally. Still a little bit wary, waiting on this employment information that should be coming out any second. We'll see. I think that stock market, now is kind of in the same position the gold and silver were in just a month or two ago, where they want to rally. They're looking for a reason to rally. Haven't found it yet, unlike gold and silver, which are still rolling. Still, stock market closing out the week with a nice little rally, finishing the week in a positive. Good job, stock market. Bonds today down, but yields up. 10-year up 6 basis points, sitting at 3.51%. The 2-year up 9 basis points, 4.22%. So you can see we still got that inversion. It's getting a little bit deeper. But still, these yields are pretty low compared to where they were less than a month ago. And we know we have another rate increase coming at the end of this month of roughly 1/4 point. This has obviously already been pretty much priced into the markets. We can anticipate this happening. So pretty amazing to me where these yields are, considering where the overnight is, right? The dollar today, basically a non-event, flat, actually up 1/100th of a point. 102.18 on the index, just sitting there. I think that the dollar is starting to work its way back down to reality. They know that the Fed is not going to be raising rates this year like they were last year, so that's putting some pressure on the dollar. Still strong, but not as strong as it once was over 109 when it peaked. I think the dollar at 100 or above is always going to be a number that's everybody's going to be attacking at. But I still think that the dollar's the king right now. Sorry, peso and some other currencies around the world. Dollar strong. We'll see how long it stays. Metals today, gold rocking and rolling again, man. Up over $22, $1,919 per ounce. That was this about $140 rally for gold in a very, very short period of time, man. Gold looking super strong. Silver up 46 cents today, $24.24. I think we're looking at $2,000 gold, somewhere between $25 and $30 silver. Metals we've been talking about this on the show for a while now. Metal's been wanting to rally. Now with the dollar coming down, they got their reason to rally, and they are rocking and rolling, man. Oil today up, but nothing like the metals were. Up $1.60 for a barrel of West Texas Intermediate, sitting at $80 exactly for a barrel. If you'll remember, for months, oil was trading in a range between $80 and $85 per barrel. It was pretty stable there. Then it kind of took a big flyer up, then came back crashing back down to low 70s. Now working its way back up. We'll see. The trend right now is not really up in oil, so we'll see if it can hold this 80, get back into the trough between 80 and 85, or where it's going. Bitcoin today had another good day, man. Bitcoin been rocking lately, up $630 plus today, $19,462. Bitcoin making a charge at 20,000. I think that Bitcoin defying the markets right now. I think a lot of people thought that this FTX fiasco and some of the other exchanges were going to be a big problem for cryptos. I certainly was in that camp. Not showing up at this point, guys. We'll see, can it hold? News you guys need to hear before we break for the weekend here. Let's break down some of this C.P.I. stuff. So we all heard yesterday, big news of the day. The market's still rallying on it. C.P.I. coming in year over year in December, 6.5%. Down from 7.1 in November. Down from 9.1 in June. A pretty nice come down and a good we're on the road to where we need to be to get inflation back down to where it was. But it was kind of looking at the breakdown of what inflation, it was kind of really weird, right? So if you break it down, what was up, what was down in there, in that CPI number, food prices were the most thing that was going up the most. Food prices up 10.4% year over year. Now that takes into account costs of all food. The big movers in food, as we all know, eggs plus 60% year over year. Butter plus 35% year over year. These are staples that people use every day. These are the foundation of cooking. Well, that's the main drivers of this food inflation. Now, some other interesting things in this inflation number, especially looking specifically at food, beef was down 3% year over year. Bacon was down 3.7% year over year. And the reason CPI came down the most, other than gas and oil prices, used cars, down 8.8% year over year. Remember, we were talking about the phenomenon of used cars actually going up in value when the shortage was on, the chip shortage. Used cars coming back down to where they should be. They led the inflation driver up, or a big part of it. Now they're helping to bring the inflation numbers down. Interesting stuff on the breakdown of this inflation. You can Google this stuff real easy, guys, if you want to get into it a little more, some more of the details. But the good news for us is, even though 6.5% inflation sucks and is not anything to celebrate, it looks like that the path the Fed has taken with raising rates at the pace they raised them last year, even though there was a lot of dissent on that, looks like it's doing what it's supposed to do. The economy, while slowing, is not looking like it's in a universal across-the-board recession. Certainly some sectors do, about real estate, right? But I think that as much as we want to complain and yell at them and talk shit when things aren't going so great, we need to at least give them the benefit of the doubt a little bit when things are kind of turning around and they might be doing the right thing here. Go figure, guys. Treasury today announcing, we have Yellen out here. How does a woman like this get to be chairman of the Federal Reserve and secretary of the Treasury? But anyway, she was out today. As we all know, the federal government is hitting their ceiling, their debt ceiling. The U.S. Treasury now resorting to what Yellen termed extraordinary measures to keep the U.S. paying its debt, not to default on any debt, and to keep us under the debt limit without borrowing any new funds. Well, now they're doing their juggling act. It's like the poor guy who's deciding whether to pay, the power bill or the gas bill, or, buy the dog food, or, get gas in his car. This is what the government is down to, guys. It's just a friggin' horrifying thing. Amazing to me that with the amount of money these guys spend, they can't figure out the simplest of tasks. It's crazy. Today we got Larry Summers coming out. Now, as we all know, Summers, love him or hate him, the guy nailed this inflation story. Was the guy out there talking about, the federal government and all the programs they had to keep everybody going during the COVID crisis. Was the one saying it was going to be inflationary, was right about it. What he's been saying since then has been pretty much spot on what I've seen. And today Summers was out warning against what he called false dawns, right? In other words, and he went on to say that, this is the lesson from the 70s and 80s. If you think you've already won the fight and now you're going to start relaxing, tighter money, the inflation comes back. Ultimately, you have to raise rates higher and keep them higher for longer if you relax the tight money things too soon. I think the Fed's going to learn something from that. It's nice to have somebody with a little bit of credibility out there reminding the Federal Reserve of that, because there's just going to be a tremendous amount of pressure on them to bring rates down, to bring back real estate. I'm sure the National Association of Realtors is screaming to their bought and paid for senators. So we'll see where this is. It's going to be a fascinating year to see how they manage all of this. Now we're going to have the money people against the political people in a fight. We're going to have all different kind of factions saying, stay the course. No, we need to change course. It's better for our business. Crazy fun stuff we're going to be dealing with. Other interesting stuff today. Apple CEO Tim Cook, taking a 40% pay cut in 2022. I feel bad for Tim, I do. You know, if I had to take a 40% pay cut, which I'll tell you right now, my pay cut for 22 was significantly higher than 40%, okay? Thanks for that, Federal Reserve. But poor Tim, with his 40% pay cut, is going to have to get by on $49 million. That is so bad. I mean, he's actually now got to suffer, and he's making less than $1 million a week. I mean, I don't know how this poor guy's going to do it, man. I really don't. I feel so sorry for him. And don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not a hater. I want everybody to get rich, but what's the purpose of announcing something like that? Are we supposed to feel sad for a guy that takes a pay cut and still gets to walk with almost $50 million? Really? It's crazy times. Bond funds in the first month of January, attracting $10.5 billion in new money, rocking and rolling, man. I guess the fixed income people are going to start going back for cash returns. Bond funds popular again. We'll see, though. I mean, I would not want to be owning a bond fund in an environment where rates are going up. I think rates are still going to go up from where they are now. And I think that these bond fund guys are going to have their hands full trying to not have net asset value losses as rates continue to rise. I just thought it was fascinating that $10 billion in 1 week could go right into those bond funds. Another interesting thing I was reading today, 1/3 of realtors had trouble paying their rent last month. So now real estate, we've already seen it with the mortgage industry and big layoffs. Now real estate companies having difficulty, 1/3 of realtors having trouble paying the rent at their offices. Wow, I've been talking about what's happening in this real estate market. It's not just Las Vegas, although we are certainly the canary in the coal mine. We're the ones that are the bellwether, so to speak. So we'll say, real estate just still sucking. There's no denying that. Don't let them bullshit anybody, okay? It's down dramatically, 75%, if we're going to be honest, is pretty much where it's at. When you wipe out refis and, purchase business being down about 1/3. I think if we close 2,000 transactions in December, I'm a monkey's uncle. I don't think we're going to do it here in Vegas. And finally, just to close out the week on something fun and good, Damar Hamlin, the safety for the Buffalo Bills, was released from the hospital yesterday and sent home to rehabilitate there and with the Bills. As most of you guys know, I'm a diehard Bills fan. I'm Bills Blue all the way. I've been a Bills fan my whole life. Grew up in Buffalo. The shock and the sadness we saw when he was injured on the field and went into cardiac arrest, the reaction from the NFL, the Bills, the Bengals, and everybody in the league, the way they dealt with it and handled it, the way the public came out. This was a guy that was trying to raise money to buy toys for kids, was hoping to raise $2,500. Right now, I think the figure is around $8 million. So Damar Hamlin's going to have a lot of money to spend on toys for needy kids. It's just a miracle what we saw and the way they dealt with it. God bless this young man. He's only 24 years old. Back home recovering. Looks like he's going to get his health back in full, which is great. I don't know so much about returning to playing professional football, but it looks like he's going to be able to live a normal life. He's certainly going to be wealthy. The Bills got the Dolphins this week on Sunday. Big playoff game in Orchard Park. We're going to whip that Dolphin butt, sorry Dolphin fans, and move on to the next round of the playoffs. It's going to be a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy yourselves, relax, take some time away from the stresses of the world, the stock market, money, the federal government, your job, and all the rest of the stuff that's not so much fun you deal with Monday through Friday. Have a great weekend, relax, spend time with your loved ones, your family, your friends. Enjoy your life, guys. It's there to live. Make sure you do it. We'll be back on Monday with new week of crazy coming up. We appreciate your guys' support. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday. Till then, take care. Thanks.